The zipper caught halfway, and for a brief second, my fingers froze. It wasn't because the dress was difficult to fasten. It was because the woman standing in front of me suddenly whispered, "You're the only person I could come to." I had known my neighbor for almost 3 years, yet nothing could have prepared me for what she revealed next. That ordinary Saturday afternoon in Charleston, South Carolina, became the day 2 lonely lives quietly began to heal. Before we continue, if you believe kindness still matters, if you believe in hope, forgiveness, compassion, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone you care about, leave a thoughtful comment, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps these heartfelt stories reach people who need them most. My name is Nathan, and after losing my wife to illness 4 years earlier, I had learned how to exist without really living. I repaired furniture for a living, spent weekends restoring old oak tables in my garage, and politely waved to neighbors without ever inviting anyone inside. Across the street lived Grace, a cheerful elementary school music teacher who always smiled, even when she looked exhausted. She had moved into the neighborhood with her elderly father, Harold, shortly after her own difficult divorce. We exchanged friendly greetings, occasionally helped each other carry groceries, but our lives never crossed beyond that. That afternoon, Grace knocked on my door wearing a beautiful emerald green dress, her hair carefully pinned. Yet her eyes carried a sadness that no elegant outfit could hide. She apologized for interrupting and explained that the zipper on her dress had become stuck. Without thinking twice, I invited her inside. As I carefully pulled the zipper into place, I noticed her shoulders trembling. She wasn't nervous about attending a formal event. She was trying not to cry. When the zipper finally closed, she stood silently for several seconds before confessing the real reason she had come. She wasn't attending a celebration. She was on her way to a charity banquet where she planned to sell her late mother's antique violin. Medical bills for her father had drained nearly everything she owned. Selling that violin felt like saying goodbye to the last piece of her childhood. But she believed she had no choice. Her words stayed with me long after she walked out the door. I couldn't stop thinking about the countless evenings I had heard beautiful violin music drifting from her living room. That instrument wasn't simply wood and strings. It carried memories, love, and generations of family history. I knew what it felt like to lose something that could never truly be replaced. Instead of returning to my workshop, I quietly drove downtown and entered the banquet hall shortly before the auction began. Grace looked surprised to see me sitting near the back. She offered a polite smile before taking her seat, unaware of what I had decided to do. One by one, auction items were presented until the violin appeared beneath the lights. The host described its craftsmanship and invited the first bid. My heart pounded harder than it had in years. I raised my paddle. Another bidder answered. The price climbed higher and higher. Every dollar represented months of my savings, but I kept going. Finally, the room fell silent. The auctioneer struck the gavel, and the violin belonged to me. Grace looked completely stunned. After the event ended, I carried the violin outside and handed it back to her. She tried to protest, believing I had made a terrible mistake, but I gently explained that some things were worth more than money. Her mother had left her something priceless, and I couldn't bear watching another family lose a piece of its heart. Tears streamed down her face as she admitted something she had never told anyone in the neighborhood. Weeks earlier, she had quietly asked several relatives for help, but everyone had turned away with polite excuses. She hadn't come to my house simply because of a broken zipper. She came because, deep inside, she believed I was the one person who might still see her as more than someone asking for help. Over the following months, something unexpected happened. Instead of facing life's burdens alone, we started facing them together. I repaired Harold's old rocking chair while Grace filled my once silent home with music again. Neighbors who had barely spoken to each other began organizing meals, fundraisers, and rides to medical appointments. One small act of kindness had awakened compassion throughout the entire community. Harold's health gradually improved, and Grace accepted a promotion at her school. As for me, I realized healing doesn't always arrive through grand miracles. Sometimes it begins with answering a knock at the door and taking a few extra moments to help someone who seems perfectly fine on the outside. Before we reach the end, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment telling us about a moment when someone's unexpected kindness changed your life, or when you were able to be that person for someone else. Your story may encourage another viewer who needs hope today. Months later, Grace invited the entire neighborhood to a small concert in the local park. As the evening sun settled over the trees, she played her mother's violin once again. The music floated through the warm air, carrying gratitude instead of goodbye. Looking around at smiling faces, I realized that the zipper I had fastened that afternoon had done far more than close the back of a dress. It had quietly opened 2 guarded hearts and reminded an entire community that compassion often begins with the smallest gesture. If this story touched your heart, please consider liking this video, sharing it with someone who believes in second chances, subscribing for more inspiring stories, and letting us know your thoughts below. Your support helps keep stories of hope, faith, and kindness alive. For everyone who needs a reminder that even the smallest act of compassion can change a life forever.